Welcome to the first episode, or actually the testing episode of the Pod of War podcast of TA. Let's see, this will be a podcast about World of Warplanes and our division in general. And just talking about, hang around, cracking a few jokes, seeing what's in the news, what's going on with clan wars, with the division, and in general, just having a bit of fun, seeing if we can make something interesting to listen to. I have 3 guests here. I'm not sure which one will stay, but it's all a bit of a test episode. Alien Zero, how about you introduce yourself as first? Let's start with, what's your favorite aircraft?
I don't have a favorite aircraft because each tier has pinnacle, if you want to say. In tier 5, it's the BF 109E mostly. Tier 6 is the P51A. In general, the BF line and the Mustang line are my favorite. Until you reach tier 8, and then that's a different story there.
Yeah. In general, being a high flying altitude?
Yes, exactly. I love fast, high flying planes, mostly.
Nice. They're really good at the game at the moment, aren't they?
Oh yeah. I mean, they are easier to run from tight issues and tight corners, you know what I mean? If a lot of people or a lot of planes try to catch up with you, all you need to do is just aim high, push boost, and start to roll. That's it.
Sounds good. Now I have a silly question for all 3 of you, and Alien, you will be the first. If your playstyle were color, what color would it be?
Black.
Black? Why is that?
Well, I think Midwork can answer that.
No, you take care of yourself.
Oh, come on. Black is the best. It's the light of the... I think that color of everything, if it's painted black, it's better. It's dark, mysterious, and also it's like a blank page for new beginnings.
As last bit, what's your position in the clan at the moment?
I am a TS right now. I've been newly assigned as a TS. I'm responsible for the trainings.
And
we try basically to, since we are having new recruits right now, we are trying to improve their skills, help them grind new planes, try to have strategies for clan wars. Basically, Aris, myself, and some other members try as much as possible to improve everyone in all aspects, not just getting new planes, but really have an understanding what it is to be a winning team.
Very nice. Then let's go to the second guest here, Aries Dragon. Let's start out with, what's your favorite aircraft? What do you usually fly when you're out there?
My favorite aircraft is Grand Attack class. Just, I don't know what it is about them. Just every once in a while, if the team works well and you can hit those ground targets pretty hard, you can actually help the team pretty well.
Very good. And I know there's currently only one line, but if you had to pick one of them in the tier, which is your favorite?
At the moment, the IL-8, but saving up for the IL-20, so we'll see.
Okay. Then I have for you, if your playstyle were a fruit, what fruit would it be?
I'd almost say a lemon, because it's kind of bittersweet.
Okay, very good. And how about your position? I know you're the CO. What does CO stand for?
CO stands for Commanding Officer.
And what does the Commanding Officer do?
Pretty much looks after the day-to-day running of the clan, and still kind of learning the role myself.
Learning the role? How it come?
Yeah, I've just been recently promoted to the position.
Okay. Just like Alien then?
Yes.
Okay. You like it?
Yes, so far.
Very good. Then last but not least, Medvirk, what's your favorite aircraft?
Well, like Alien Zero said, there are a lot of planes to be appreciated in the game, and with me the problem is further compounded by the fact that I kind of like both turn and burn planes and boom and zoom planes, but if I have to choose one plane to name my favorite, that would without a doubt be the Focke-Wulf 198.5, because it flies just the way I want it to fly. It's fast, it's well armed, so it gets in, kills a bunch of people, and then gets out.
Very aggressive then.
Oh yeah, very, very aggressive. Just an all around perfect plane.
And then you will probably love your question. If your playstyle were a medieval weapon, what weapon would it be?
A medieval weapon.
Yeah.
It would be a warehouse full of all kinds of weapons, but the biggest, sharpest one would be right near the door. So let's say call it a claymore.
What
Okay.
about the Damascus Steel Scimitar, man?
That's nice, but the claymore is kind of more analogous to the butcher bird.
How come?
Well, it's big, it hits really hard, and if you know how to use it, it's gone before you know what hit you.
Okay. And what's your position in the clan?
Well, right now I'm just kind of one of the guys, though I haven't been playing and I haven't been around all that much these days because of a bunch of different factors. But in my time in TAW, I went from being just a regular member to, I think first I went all the way up to field specialist, and then I took some duties as a drill instructor, and then after that I went all the way up to CEO before I had to relinquish my position because of the aforementioned other obligations.
Do you miss it?
Well, tell you the truth, I don't miss the game all that much, but I miss the guys in the units quite a lot, to be honest.
The guys? How come?
Well, the unit is just a bunch of very nice guys, and we used to hang out a lot, have flights, and basically just have a lot of fun with each other.
Yeah, that's tough to miss then.
Oh yeah.
I set you out with some homework, and I know all of you tried your best to actually finish it, because there is a lot of game info at the moment, considering patch 1.7 is right around the door. There is a ton of features in there, but I know there is only one feature to rule them all, one feature that we're all waiting for.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm
German
talking
attack
about?
aircraft. German attack aircraft.
What? No.
The
One button to remove all bots from the training room.
Well, to be honest with you, the big news about 1.7 is the German attack aircraft, because this line was supposed to be in the game since the beginning. The other things are just, in my opinion, my humble opinion, of course, are basically Wargaming trying to cover some of their really bad work in earlier patches.
Okay. You're not as excited as I am then about the bots button?
I haven't used the training room a lot, so I can't complain.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, of course, the German attackers are probably the biggest feature here, along with the new maps and some training room features. Like I said, you can actually change your map while in a room as leader, and you can change your plane while in a room. How was that for you guys? Was it a big deal?
Oh, that's going to make training so much easier. You don't have to recreate a room every time you want to change a plane. That's as the leader.
Yeah, it was pretty goofy before, wasn't it? Like, you would have a training room of like maybe even 20 people, and they would all have to rejoin.
Yeah. I think that, again, it was a really bad design for Wargaming in the beginning.
True. Now, let's go to the first big topic, the German ground attackers. I know some of you had the chance to go on a test server, and some didn't. Has any one of you been able to fly with them yet?
Yeah, I did. Well, I wouldn't call it a fair bit of flying, but I did manage to get the German ground attackers all the way up to tier 10 on the test server, and they are very. I guess the word I would choose is interesting, because there are some very good decisions that went into the German ground attackers, and then there are some very funny decisions that went into the German ground attackers. For example, the Stuka that you get don't carry no bombs.
What tier is that?
The Stuka is tier 5, and
the JU-87.
Yep, the JU-87G Stuka, and that is the model they had with two 37mm cannons for hunting tanks. And yes, it never did carry bombs, but they could have chosen another model that could carry at least one bomb. And another big thing that people are going to be missing is it doesn't have a siren.
A siren?
Yep, so when you put the Stuka into a dive, it's just going to sound like pretty much any other plane would sound. There won't be that heart-wrenching wail.
A whistle of death, basically.
Yep.
The Horns of Jericho.
Oh, so the real Stuka had some kind of module that whistled?
Yeah,
Yep.
it was. It wasn't so much a siren as much as it was a kind of an air funnel with holes and stuff. And when the Stuka went into a dive, when it went past a certain speed, it would start to. I guess you would call the sound a wail, kind of like a banshee wail that was intended to unnerve the people around the target. So it would have a greater psychological impact. And this is not present in the game.
But was the Stuka a dive bomber then?
Oh
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Basically, the Stuka was conceived of as a fighter, but it was very slow and it was clunky to operate, and it had lousy maneuverability. But then someone found out that it became incredibly stable when in a dive. So someone came up with the idea to stick a couple of bombs in it on it, and they found out that it could be a very effective and very accurate dive bomber. So that's how the Stuka came to be. Otherwise, it was going to go into the trash heap as a field design.
Interesting. Now, dive bombers are not really a thing in World of Warplanes, of course. Like you have multi-purpose fighters, but I guess they kind of function as dive bomber, but it's all not like in real life. How do you guys think the German ground attackers will compare to the ILs, the Russian ones?
They are a different animal, especially, you see, I think from what I've read that they are divided into three types of planes. And the lower tiers, which is tier 4 and 5, they are almost like a light flying tank, except I think the HS 129B, which is basically a classical IL-like plane, but with twin engines. When you go to a higher tiers like tier 6 and 7 and 8, that's a different design and different planes there in which they are focusing too much on the armament. At higher tiers then, at tier 9 and 10, the planes became more of a heavy fighter rather than a ground attacker.
A heavy fighter.
It is almost like a heavy fighter. You see, this line, unlike the IL line, which is basically the same plane with a little bit of different attributes, each plane in the German line behaves completely different than the other one, which should make the players a little bit either excited or frustrated.
So it's mostly a plane for those who know how to handle it then, I guess.
Exactly. You need to really work it out until you find a way to use that plane successfully.
Yeah, the big problem players are going to have with the German ground attackers is that not a single one of them has rockets yet, and the bombs they do have are nowhere near as effective as the bombs on the ILs, but they do have some very sweet cannon on them. So it's going to take, I guess you would call it a lot more finesse and a lot more planning and preparation to set up a good run to get the maximum out of your airplane. But all in all, I now prefer them to the ILs, to the Russian ground attackers, because kind of like what Alien said, the impression I got of the German ground attackers was the tier 4 and one of the tier 5s are more like heavy fighters instead of ground attackers. Then you have one tier 5 and one tier 6 that are basically just really heavy light fighters, and then from tier 7 up to tier 10 they are kind of a mix between light fighters and heavy fighters, but they are slower than both and less maneuverable than both, but much better armed for ground attack. And also, one-on-one, any German ground attacker, tier for tier, is going to be able to eat any other IL for breakfast, hands down.
Now I know, Aries, that your favorites are the Russian ILs. What do you think so far when you hear this?
I'm just looking forward to actually try them out myself before I actually voice an opinion. I mean, I know the history of the Stuka, what it should do, and sounds like an interesting plane. It could even be flown in support of the Russian ILs.
One question though, because I have not researched it, how's their hit points compared to the IL?
Call it half.
Half of what the IL has.
Yeah.
So
they can barely take the same beating then, obviously.
They are
yes,
faster.
but
They
are
faster,
much
more
faster
maneuverable,
and much more maneuverable, yes.
and higher altitude also.
And you mentioned that they were, like in higher tiers, they were almost a heavy fighter. My question is, what kind of function would they have in the game? Like, if they don't have rockets, are they still good at ground attacking, or?
Oh yeah, I would need a lot more time to come up with a definite solution to how to fly these planes, at least one that would suit me. But played properly, these things are ground target butchers.
Now there is. Maybe I should refine the question because actually random battles are, of course, a completely different story from clan wars. Let's stick to random battles first. So they will still be ground attackers.
Oh yeah, you can use them perfectly well as ground attackers because their superior speed allows them several very interesting tactical options in that they are more suited to sneaking in, taking a circuit roundabout route to their intended target because they can cover the ground faster and they can do contour flying much more easily because they are much more maneuverable. So you can fly faster, lower, and not worry so much about crashing. And again, if you know how to fly that thing, see for example with the Tier 7 ground attacker has absolutely no problem killing an enemy ground target warship in one pass. No problem whatsoever. You just come in fast at about 1,200 meters. You hit your flaps, you hit your brakes, you start wheeling on that heavily armored target, the keel of the ship that kills it outright, and then you should be able to kill it by the time you reach about 200-300 meters away from it.
But that's random battles. Of course, there's always also clan wars, and I know Ares and Alien Tom has been starting to go into clan wars a little bit, just casual, looking how things are going. And it seems like ground attackers are not very popular in clan wars at the moment with the new superiority system of patch 1.6. Do you think maybe ground attacking will be a bigger strategy now with different ground attackers available?
Yeah, it'd be nice, but I highly doubt it. Everyone seems to be liking the high flyers.
How come though? You can win a match with ground superiority, so how come?
See, the problem with clan wars is that everyone takes the high flyers and try to do a blitz attack to end the game in just like a minute or two. So basically, there's no time to do ground attacks. We are trying to develop a system in which we can win through destroying some ground attacks, but it will require more time to refine that technique.
And also with the introduction of all these new planes, it's going to take a little bit of time until people manage to figure out what works and what doesn't. Like, for example, earlier today, I was flying the new Tier 9 German ground attacker, and I managed to chase down an HG-2.
Interesting.
Ripped him completely to shreds. In another battle, I can't remember whether it was an LA or a Yak, but it was the Tier 9 again, and I was flying it with a single 50mm cannon, and I managed to catch the poor little Russian flying bird in a turn, and he had like 3/4 health. But when that 50mm managed to catch up to him, he didn't have 3/4 health anymore. He had a lot of pieces over a lot of seed.
I think the major issue with Clan Wars is that when you start a room for that match, the other team can see what planes you're taking, so they can already know in advance what you're gonna do. If Wargaming can manage to hide planes from each other team, then I think the ground attack can have a decent chance of doing a turn point in the game.
Yeah, but there is a point in the rules that allows you to do plane picking. I mean, it is a big bother, but you can sort of counteract people leaving the room and then coming back to counter your planes. But yeah, there can be some kind of a mechanic. But on the other hand, there's a lot of things that can be done with the game and that just aren't being done at the moment. So, it's kind of a moot point at this stage of the game's development.
And isn't it like you need to draft pick your planes with your opponent team at the moment in the current tournament? So you get to pick 2 planes and the opponent gets to pick 2 planes.
Plane picking works something like that. I can't really remember the procedure, but it was like one picks 3 and then another picks 3 and then the first one picks 3 again, something like that. It was kind of like getting ready for a tug of war or something back when we were in school.
So it's not actually in a training room that you get to see the aircraft. You get to see them when they're picked as well.
Yeah, kind of. But if one of the teams wants to, they can just do one plane pick. That's it. You either fly those planes or you're forfeiting the battle. That's what the rules say, at least. Now, I'm pretty sure that most people aren't abiding to this in this edition of Clan Wars because let's just face it, it's a big bother that people don't really care about. But there is a kind of a mechanic to address the issue Alien mentioned.
Now, in the patch 1.7, there is also, once again, a matchmaking update. If I'm reading it correctly here, battles with overwhelming amount of similar class planes should become rarer. So if you get like an insane amount of ground attackers, that should no longer happen.
Well, the test server is really not a platform for trying that out, because the largest battle I had, and this was during prime time, was 5 versus 5 on tier 9. So that's not really indicative of whether matchmaking has improved or degraded with this new patch. Again, during prime time earlier, the test server had like, I don't know, 200 people, 250 people online, the most that I saw at any one time, and then the best I saw in the queue was something like 30 or 40 people across 6 tiers.
Yeah, of course. There's not enough people on the test server to test it.
You'll just have to wait for the patch to come out, and let's see how matchmaking works this time around.
But what's you guys' opinion actually on the current matchmaking? I've not played it in a while, but I know there's always a lot of comments about the matchmaking. How is it at the moment? Is it good or bad?
Oh, it's horrible.
How come?
It is. I'll tell you why. There is this new protection thing in which if you are really an expert player, you cannot fly lower tiers because you will end up waiting 9 to 10 minutes to play a tier 1 or 2 or 3 and sometimes even 4, and you end up with a game like 2 versus 2 and 1 versus 1. And to be honest with you, I sold all my tier 1 and 2 and 3 because of that. I no longer have any of them. And also, the whole idea of not being able to put the same clan members on one side is a little bit not fair to some people. I mean, not everyone is a professional player, and some people will start to shout and make some issue and fuss about the other team. You know, if like, for example, me and Aris on two different sides, other people may suspect that I'm actually helping the other side so they could win, and it happened. I've been one game, and one guy who was in a clan against his other teammates, because he was playing horribly, he decided to ram our team and let his other guys win. So I believe that clan members should always end up in the same side. And the game should really level high flyers with low flyers. Sometimes you end up with a team full of low flyers and the other side full of PF-109 planes or P-51 planes. This is not fair. The game favors the high flyer planes, basically.
I've not heard this before, actually. People helping, or well, destroying their own team to help clan members on the other team.
I've seen it. I was shocked. I've seen it like 2 times this week. They were the first time, but it happened.
So if you look at the new patch, similar class planes should no longer be too much in the same battle. I guess this doesn't change too much then.
We have to see it. We have to see how it works. I mean, Midrick could not see it. He played the beta. He couldn't see it because it was not implemented in the beta. We have to wait and see.
All right, man.
And to be honest with you, with what Word Gaming has been providing with each patch, I'm not too positive.
No faith in improvement there on the matchmaking?
Not just in matchmaking, man. There are a lot of issues in the game, and Wargaming is just totally ignoring them. I would prefer a patch, a major patch, with nothing new in the game except bug fixing. I've been playing this game for like 6 or 7 months now, and I can't use my multi-card system. I only have to run one. If I enable crossfire, there is flickering and tearing and everything, and there's no way I can play the game. It has been there for 7 months now. I don't know, maybe it was there in the beginning, but we are in 2015. Such issues should not be presented in any game. Or sometimes you load to the hangar and it stays there. Or you have your hangar shaking when you have to restart the game.
Yeah,
there are a lot of issues that... you have a lot of issues that has been there for way too long, and Wargaming is not doing anything about it.
Or the rubber band effect while you're flying.
Oh yeah, that's really annoying.
Or flying in treacle or mud.
Oh, that first time I
Yeah.
saw serious rubber banding was a laugh at, man. Now, the first time we saw heavy rubber banding, we were in a flight with Delunian and Awesome Zebra flying Tier 7, and I know I was flying the 190 Dora. I think Delunian was in a P-51, and then Zebra was in a heavy, or the other way around. Anyway, the game started rubber banding all over the place, and we started screaming like little girls.
Yeah, it happens a lot, man.
And because you shoot at planes that apparently are not there, and then you shoot at one plane, but you wind up hitting another plane. It was complete insanity the first time we saw it.
Yeah, true. Or you have that issue sometimes you play a game and you swear you like keep shooting on an enemy for like 15 seconds and he's not even getting a single bullet and you're absolutely sure about your aiming. A lot of these issues are happening, especially in 1.6.
I get that when I'm flying my IL-8, got the 45 caliber guns, hitting that ground target, making a full run, lobbing 4 rockets into it, and dropping a bomb on it, and still not destroying it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's another thing that seems to have been addressed in 1.7. I haven't flown my ILs, so I'm not really sure, but the German ground attackers do some very nice damage to ground targets using cannons. On the other hand, I also note that they have a tendency to be much more accurate than the Russian ground attack cannons, and they have better rates of fire, and they have better cooldown times. So I think the Tier 7 has a 37 millimeter cannon that cools down about, I don't know, 3 times faster than the 45 millimeter cannon on the Tier 7 Russian ground attacker.
Here, if I read a little bit of the patch notes, it does say increased accuracy of the primary weapon when shooting at ground targets. So that might actually be it.
Yep, cannons are, again, I haven't played my Russian ground attackers, but on German ground attackers, the cannons are vicious now, just vicious.
To make an amazing segue, cannons make amazing sound. They have actually here in the patch notes, they do say reworked firing sounds for primary weapons, reworked sounds for plane hits, and fixed engine sounds. I know in 1.6 a lot of sounds were different as well. What do you guys think about that? Does it matter to you, or do you even mute the game maybe?
Well, it does contribute to the atmosphere, but in 1.7, from what I've seen so far, I wouldn't call it so much a fix as much as I would call it a tweak. It sounds a little bit better than it used to, but it's still the same basic premise for the sound pack.
So basically the sound engine is still broken.
Yeah, but at least now you can finally hear when people are hitting your plane again. There used to be this problem that you couldn't hear bullets blinking into your plane when you were hit back in 1.6, which always struck me as quite odd because whenever you read about dogfights of any kind, even modern day dogfights, you'll read that planes are actually resonance boxes, and unless you're really preoccupied with something, there is no way you can't not hear being hit.
So the sound gets like magnified when you get hit.
Oh yeah, in real life, in real planes, supposedly getting hit by a bullet was compared to, I don't know, having a big ass bass drum being struck right next to your ear.
Well, I guess the game is not, World of Warplane is not designed for much realism, but I guess that makes things more realistic then.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, say for example, there are several ways in which you can make dive bombers relevant in this game, but that would take a major mechanics overhaul in the game itself. So, maybe they'll do it someday, maybe they won't. Just have to wait and see.
And after all, it's a game, not a simulation. So I guess they can get away with it.
On another note about 1.7, controls have been retweaked a little bit. Again, it's not back to the quality it used to be in 1.4, but they do seem a little bit more responsive and a little bit more intuitive. And also, graphics have received a very nice tweak now. They look a lot more crisp, and they seem to, I don't know, I guess I would say flow better. And they were much smoother even on my crippled computer that I have to run the game on very low graphic detail, you can still see an improvement in the graphics and an improvement in the way the graphics behave.
Talking about graphics, there is new maps in the game. Oh, the segues. Now, I know Alien Zero and Ares Dragon, you were not able to get on the test server, so you could not see the maps in own person, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Now, I downloaded a test client, and luckily enough, my old test account still worked. So what I did, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you might want to check the screen right now, because I actually made a video clip for you guys, so we can go through the map while looking at it, and maybe have some comments and have some first impressions from you guys.
Sure.
Sounds like a plan.
Cool. I did play the test server, so I already do have some comments prepared for the maps, but let's go with your idea, Wiser, and then I'll just interject where I think my nosy nose belongs.
First, we'll look at the province map.
Well, how about I get us started, because Alien and Ares are going to need a few minutes to see the map, to judge it, but I'll say this right now, and then you can use the same comments or just to remember what I said for the next map. I like these maps very much because they are very big and they have very interesting geographical features on them, and I think both maps are going to be very fun for both ground attackers and fighters.
So, Ares, Alien, what do you think of the layout, the looks?
To be honest with you, flying it is not like watching a clip of the map, but from what I'm seeing, I think it's massive, which is really good. It feels a little bit like the old national park for a moment, but then I realized how massive it is.
Actually,
Did you see that little bridge that was off Wizer's left wing, or the one he's diving on right now?
Yep.
You can squeeze an ME262 HG2 through those.
wow.
Took me a little while for the one with the pillars, the one he's facing right now, but you can fit an HG2 through there.
This map actually makes me think a bit of Fortress in the way it looks. With grass.
The basic idea has been taken from Fortress, I think.
And of course, the map name is Province, so I guess it's supposed to be like France or something with grape fields and rivers.
That's either going to be France or Italy.
Yeah. If Italy might be as well, yeah, of course.
It looks more like Italy.
Judging from the layout of the towns, it could be Italy.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. Now, I have the other one as well. Let me get the link. I do have to warn you, though, on this map, for some reason, halfway, I got massive lag spikes and actually nearly got shot down by a bot. What do you think? You can see the mountains. There is a river through it, just like in Canyon. What do you think of this style?
So,
Lots of cover for the ground attackers.
Yep. Firstly, let me say that I think these mountains on Observatory, and to a lesser extent the ridges on Province, are going to make for some very interesting runaway tactics in plane versus plane dogfights. But also, if you guys take a good look at these maps, they don't really lend themselves too much to single pass ground attacking. You know, there's not, at least not that I've seen so far, there's no one route you can take that will take you over all the ground targets and give you maximum time to do maximum damage to the maximum number of ground targets. Here is gonna take a few runs, repositioning, maneuvering, you know, stuff like that. I think these two maps are gonna be very interesting. Maybe not popular, because sometimes players just want the kills to be served on a silver platter for them, but to me, these two maps would be very interesting.
But does it actually matter a lot what map you're on? Like, especially, personally, I fly the P-51 a lot, the fighter tree. And honestly, I just follow the crowd, flying super high, and I barely interact with the map at all. How much does the map actually matter?
Well, yeah, of course. The map matters not at all in a high dogfight. But if you do manage to get someone on your tail that you just can't see to shake, in a high altitude dogfight, then you can dive and you can try some things around these mountains that they might not be ready for. Basically that's all. The whole thing that's all the whole thing is. It's just you get a bunch of options, and it's up to you and your enemy to use or not use them properly.
And how about for ground attackers, Ares?
In ground attack, it kind of does depend on the map. Yeah, sometimes if you don't have a good team, you need kind of areas where you can run through and hide and through canyons and stuff.
So, are these new maps good for that, you think?
Province could be some fun. The other one with all the mountains can be a little more difficult for the Russian ground attacks.
There's a little detail in Observatory that Wizier's video doesn't show. There's a kind of a ditch. I guess you would call it more like a dried out stream or something like that. But you wouldn't be able to do this with an IL because it's just way too big. But you can squeeze a German ground attacker down in that thing. Now it doesn't make all that much of a difference. But for me, at least, it was very, very interesting flying the contours of that thing.
Nice, I'll have to try that.
Yep. And also, what do you know? Maybe those few extra meters that little ditch gives you is just what you need to be able to slip under the enemy.
Might be fun in harbor as well.
Yeah.
Maybe even gets it into the trainings. Didn't you used to do follow the leader in the trainings?
Yeah.
That was way back.
That was the last time I remember we did that was I don't know. I guess it was about a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago. I don't know if they've been doing it since I stopped playing, but that was some very interesting flying we could pull off. Now, and again, these two maps are going to be very interesting for that because up until now, best we could do for follow the leader was Plateau.
Now, considering trainings, let's get to some clan updates maybe. Ares, how is the clan going? Any important position changes lately?
The main one was just Alien Zero to training specialist. Did that on Sunday.
Yeah, and here he is.
Yep.
And I heard we're back up to 30 members, going strong then?
We're kind of at 26, 27 members, so yeah, pretty much to 30.
Nice. And recruitment's going pretty good now, isn't it?
Yep.
Now, there was a big discussion a week ago, or maybe even 2 weeks ago, about the clan logo. For those who don't know, in the game you can have a logo for your clan, and we used to have a sort of greenish emblem with the TA name and TA philosophy on it. But in order to unify our World of Warplanes and World of War tanks divisions of TA, we chose to have a different clan logo, one that unifies all of our TA wargaming games. How is the new logo received actually in the new? Can you maybe describe it and tell me what you think about it?
Well, I think the clan members are still not satisfied. Okay, it's better than the first one that we had, the pink one.
Pink one.
Changing the colors from pink to yellow does not really raise the satisfaction bar that much.
I'll put the clan logos up on the video right now, by the way, so the people watching can see it. So what's wrong with the new logo?
I think it's just too amateur. I'm sorry to say that, but that's how I feel. I mean, the original one was really good. The design was nice, the colors were perfect, but the new one is like, I'm sorry to say this, but it's like a little boy who just made a small crayon drawing for his teacher.
Then what made the first one so good?
I said it. It was very detailed, very professional. Color was good, and it was so military-like emblem.
Yeah, it looked kind of like a military crest.
Ares, what do you think?
I did like the old one better. If I was in the military, I would love to have had that on my uniform.
But how about the new emblem showing all of a tank, aircraft, and a ship? Doesn't that do anything for you?
I kind of like the idea of doing something like that as well, but this new one, like Alien said, it just does seem a little amateurish.
I think the problem is that there's now an attempt in the logo for putting pictures in it, and pictures demand detail, whereas the logo we used to have was a classic crest, and they don't much need detail. They just tell the story by themselves. But here, the silhouettes and yeah, it is a little. I wouldn't call it amateurish. I would call it, I guess, bland.
True. Maybe it's a bit simple.
Hey, but at least you kept my clan motto.
True, true.
A lot of people may not have been there when I was explaining to some people what the clan motto actually means.
Well, what is the current clan motto?
Well, you have the name of the clan, and then you have the logo on the left, and then you have the clan motto. And I put in Capere Stultum, and that, to the best of my knowledge, I might be slightly wrong on the grammar, on the Latin here, but basically it means seize the stupid. And this is a kind of derivative of seize the day, and it's also, call it a combination of seize the day and an old military saying that goes, if it's stupid but it works, it ain't stupid. And it's supposed to motivate our members to think outside the box, to not go, oh, I'm not going to try that, it's too silly. You should try it, and it might be silly, but if it works, who cares how silly it is?
Now, Aries, you're the current CO and leader of the EU battalion. What do you think?
I was there when he first explained what it actually meant, and I kind of like it, and I hope we keep it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone was actually thinking about changing it. It's a nice, the way it's in Latin is just simply a bit fancy. And of course, it's both silly, but has a core of truth, which is a nice combination.
And it also lets other clans know not to trifle with us because we're not all mentally there.
Well, one sure isn't.
Okay, well, we might be there mentally, but, kind of upside down.
Well, it's always fun being a little crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So, patch 1.7, it's the patch note has been out for a while, and there is one last question I have for you guys. What will be the first thing you do when the patch hits, you download the game? What will you first be doing?
Well, also, I guess I should be the first one to answer because unlike Alien Zero and Ares, I have a little bit of experience with it. The first thing I would recommend people do after they download the patch is go in and fix their controls because they are reset again.
Ah, that sucks.
Yeah, they reset everything, the controls, the HUD, the kitchenware, everything. And also, don't forget to check your planes because some of them might have magically be switched to reload for gold. And if you have, that tiny little bit of gold you're saving up for the next time hangar slots are on discount, well, you need to keep your eyes on that gold because, Wargaming is trying to make you look at its right hand all the time.
For me, I'm gonna try and see if they fix the multi-card issue.
Ah, of course, and you will cry.
That's the first thing for me. Yeah, it's really annoying. I mean, to have such a PC that you can't really use in this game, which, by the way, it's the only game I'm playing recently with World of Tanks, and I really can't do much with my PC. It's like exactly having a Ferrari that you can't drive because there are no roads you can drive it on.
I think we're kind of spoiling Wiser's idea for the question.
No, these are good points. I mean, if you have there are graphic bugs, so of course you will try it out.
Yeah, but something tells me you expected one of us to say, "I'm gonna go get me a German ground attack and kill some people."
Well, you see, the problem, man, is that we've been playing this game for a period now, not a short period. So let's just say we hope that they really did something with the bugs because they've been there for a long time and nothing has been done about it.
And Aries, how about you?
Fix my controls and get that Russian-German ground attacker.
Of course. All right, that concludes then the podcast. Did you guys enjoy being here?
Yep.
Definitely, man. It was nice.
Oh, loved it.
Perfect. Then I'll see you guys next time.
Booyah.